So this is really a great perspective for Indian hockey, that this young bunch of players have the potential. If you make the choice to go to a foreign country, you have to adapt to that culture. Of course, it's not good that these matches are not there anymore, but yeah, I can't change the political situation.
Just if you could begin by putting this whole thing in perspective for us. We at times need perspective as to how to rate a certain win, and where does Junior World Cup land in the bigger picture?
Now let's have a look at the country that won most of the Junior World Cups. I think you might know that's Germany, who won 6 times the Junior World Cup. And if you look at the last 20 years of international hockey, Germany is always in the top 3, top 4. I think one time they went out, they fell out of it. That was in the last World Cup in 2014, where they finished 5th. But all the other tournaments, they're always in the top. Win quite a numbers, many medals they won, so silver and bronze medals. So this is really a great perspective for Indian hockey, that this young bunch of players have the potential, if we guide them properly. That is always a big problem, to be honest. A major country like Germany, who was there for many years now as one of the top nations, it started with all their good performance in junior level. I think we had 11 junior World Cups now, and out of 11 they won 6 and had 4 medals. Only one time they didn't win anything, so that gave, of course, their advantage still with us, but for us it's a great perspective. And if you combine a young group of players with already a high potential group of more experienced players, and I think that is also what the senior team is nowadays. The senior team is also, in the last couple of years, they become from number 13 in the world, number 6 in the world. Last year we had 2 major tournaments where we won medals. The World Hockey League, where we won the bronze medal, and then the Champions Trophy, where we won a silver medal. So that shows that we're really on the right track. And if you combine these 2 teams, the talent of the youngsters and the quality of the already more experienced players, yeah, and I compare that to my team that I was coaching in the 90s in the Netherlands, we had the same kind of situation, and that team dominated the world for 10 years, so it should be great if we can do the same with India again.
When you came into India, so was there a to-do list that you had, expectations that you had from the Hockey Association? And if you had that list, so have they also performed?
When I came there, the president said, okay, and I asked it, I need more or less a free hand to work according to my own plans. And of course, I need to give you reports and to explain why I take the decisions that I explain. But at the same time, if there's too much interference in the way we want to go, so I try to set up a development plan. We created a new online system for development. And we started to work in a different way on guiding the senior and junior. Firstly, as the high performance director, of course, because don't forget the first 3 years I was only working as a high performance director.
Regarding this junior team, how important was it having someone like Halendra at helm, who has seen these boys for a long time, interacted with them, trained them, and someone the boys can trust and go to him directly if they have something to confide or something to suggest or some advice to seek? How important has been his contribution on this team?
No, I think in every team, if it's good in a team, around the team there's a staff that makes sure that the way the staff is combining every aspect which is needed for a young team is protected. And so everyone has a different role in that. And Arenda indeed had a very good, I think did a very good job in the bounding and having a very good personal relationship with these players. And some of them really went to terrible situations throughout the process. We all have seen the story probably of Patak, our goalkeeper who lost his father a couple of months ago. Yeah, and that moment, Harana is fantastic. I can absolutely say that. Yeah, 100%, no doubt about it.
Coach, while you have said that Indian hockey is improving, we are also seeing decline of hockey in a couple of nations. For example, Pakistan, where probably you have worked before in 2003, I think, and to an extent, South Korea also is flagging off. I mean, they used to be very good, at least on Asian level. So, what do you make of it?
First of all, I'm not happy with what's happening in Asian hockey. Let's be honest. India was the only team representing Asia at the last Olympic Games. In this tournament, the next position of Asian hockey team was 11th, Malaysia. So that's not good for the area, the region, where indeed before countries like Pakistan, Korea had fantastic hockey teams. So that it should be good for hockey in the region if these countries are coming up, and not only in the region, it will be good for international hockey. At the moment you see, from my point of view, 9 teams in the world, 9 countries in the world are competing on a very high level. And if you look at the top 9 at the Rio Olympics, were the same top 9 as during the Junior World Cup. That shows that these countries are really working very hard at the moment. And the order, of course, is different, but if you play a next tournament in a couple of months' time, the order will again be different. And that is the good thing now for hockey. It's not predictable anymore. And when I go back to 10, 15 years ago, it was always very simple. It was Holland, it was Germany, it was Australia. And then sometimes Spain had a couple of years that they were good. Pakistan had a couple of years they were good. But that's it. And now we have 8, 9 teams who can compete really on a top level. And I think it's very good for the sport in itself. So that's a good point.
So Oltmans, you've been here for a while now, and we've seen in the past that coaches haven't been able to adjust to the system here. Like, what has been this, and you also even to give results with the others were not able to. So what it is about, what is your understanding about the Indian system and how does it work, and what has been, how have you been able to do that?
Well, my personal opinion is always, if you make the choice to go to a foreign country, you have to adapt to that culture. It's not the other way around. I can't expect the whole Indian culture to adapt to what I think it's the right way to do things, because there are things different. And if I really feel that it's important, I'm very strict, and my players know that very much. For me, for instance, very strict is time management. Indians are not that good in it, to be honest. I think you know better than I do. But my players always are in time. If you shoot this bunch of players, I came always 2-3 minutes before we had an appointment, and all the boys were already there. I don't even have to ask them anymore. They know that. And it's in the senior level, it's the same. They know that is something that I feel is important. But something that I have to understand, procedures who are here. Some procedures are not really fasten things up. It takes time. It's time consuming, to be honest. Many procedures are time consuming. If I need some equipment for the team, we start with a tender. So then people have to apply to the tender, that takes time. Then they have to take a decision, that takes time. And in the meantime, if you talk about technology, it's old-fashioned already. So you have to start all over again. In the beginning, I was on fire. Nowadays, I understand this is the way it is, and I can't change it. So I have to accept it the way it is. The only thing is I can try to push it to make sure that still it goes as soon as possible. But you have to accept that system. If you can't stand it, don't come to India.
You have read quite a bit of assessment about Indians, most of which is accurate. You've been here for 4 years or something. Could you take us through your experience of being in India from a non-hockey point of view? How has your experience been?
I have to be very honest to you. Apart from hockey, not very much is happening. Because we are in camps, I'm there, and there you work 24 hours on hockey, on hockey, on hockey. And sometimes I have a free day on a Sunday, and then unfortunately most of the time I'm preparing the next week, so I'm still working. And the few moments that are there, I take a couple of times sometime to play a round of golf, especially with Romeo James, one of the coaches of the junior team. We did a couple of times, but most of that's all. Yeah. We don't have much time. I always tell my wife that the moment I stop here, the first thing we will do, we'll go on a long holiday, and I'm gonna visit this beautiful country, because I see so many beautiful places, but I don't have time to visit it. I would love to do it. So that's one part. Another thing that of course I talk with players and other staff members about Indian life, because I'm curious about the life in India, and I must say we Europeans can learn a lot. And I really mean it, the way, the openness, the friendliness, the people are really taking care of each other so much more than we do. And that's really, that's an eye-opener for me. Really an eye-opener, and I think that's a very good part of the culture. I love to hear that. If I hear our players and they tell me and they show me how proud they are that they are able to give a better life to their families, they are able to sometimes build houses in the suburbs where they come from, and the whole family is staying there, they share everything. Well, in the more or less egoistic Western world, that's not happening, I can tell you. So I learn also a lot from my stay here. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you also concur, and how do you overcome this language barrier, which is a main thing?
It is a problem. Language is still a problem, there's no doubt about it. I try to improve my Hindi, but that's not working out that good. So I need to work with interpreters. And luckily, of course, in the senior men team, I had Tushar Kankar. He was fantastic, and he really was able to do it. In the juniors, of course, Harenda was there as a coach who could translate everything what we discussed up front or during a team meeting. So still, all the information is coming there, but it's not direct. It's more difficult. It's more different also to understand exactly the real thoughts of these players. I always tell them I would like to go into their minds sometimes and try to understand why they take certain decisions. Sometimes they do something on the field or off the field that I don't understand why. I try to explain it, and that it's there I find sometimes a little barrier to go into them, and then you really need very good Indians in the staff who helps you with that. Yeah, that is the difference, there's no doubt. The most easiest way is your own language, of course. Then if you have a common second language, like English is for many players, and for me, that is still possible, but when it comes to Punjabi or Hindi or, then it becomes difficult.
Coach, you said that you need at times want to get into the heads of players, but even in an Indian setup, the different sets of people coming from different states, even their mindsets are quite different. Like, have you understood the difference between a player from, say, Punjab or a player from, say, Orissa, from tribal belt, or a player from down south? How different are these players? And if you can tell us one quirk or some characteristic of each of these areas, especially Punjabi players.
Punjabis are very proud, eh? Oh, they're proud boys. And but also, because they're proud, they're very poor in English. No, it's serious. Yeah. The Punjabi boys in our group, the Punjabi boys are by far poor in English, for instance, than the boys from Karnataka. And all the Karnataka boys are extremely good in English. Very easy to communicate for me. But the Punjabi boys is much more difficult. And some of them really work hard to do it a little bit better. And because also they understand that it's important. It's not only important to communicate with me, but we have video referrals in our games. It's important that you can ask the right question to the umpire. Otherwise, it can cost you. Nowadays we play Hockey India League, where many players from abroad are your teammates. You can't communicate with them if you only speak Punjabi or Orissa or whatever language it is. So it's important for their own development as well that they develop themselves language-wise, from my point of view. So one of the things is their pride. Their English is poor, but at the same time they are really funny. And they love to dance, huh? Yeah, really, Punjabi boys, there's always Punjabi music. If it's Harjeet or Mandeep or Harmanpreet, there's always dancing and music around. And also they make a lot of create a lot of good atmosphere.
India not playing with Pakistan and vice versa, is it good for hockey in general and for both countries, or is it not?
At the other hand, I know the big sentiment about Indian-Pakistan games. I've seen matches in when was it? In Karachi, for instance, when I went on my way back from Malaysia to Holland, I went through Karachi, especially to watch that game, because it's always exciting and everyone in the world loves to watch Indian-Pakistan games. So for that reason, of course, it's not good that these matches are not there anymore. But yeah, I can't change the political situation, unfortunately. I think I'm the only one in the world who worked in both countries with their national team, so maybe I can become a moderator or something like that.
Like you have coached both the teams. Is there a difference between the psyche of the two teams, how they prepare for India-Pakistan match? Temperamentally, are they different? Like, what is your assessment of both these teams before these very intense match, which is watched by everyone?
Skill-wise, there is a lot of things are common. I think that is, of course, the tradition of the old Asian style of hockey with lots of individual skills, especially dribbling skills, and which are outstanding. Their passing skills and their receiving skills sometimes are a little bit less. I think if you look now tactically, both teams have learned a lot in the last couple of years. If you look at the way teams are preparing themselves, that is completely different. And for me, the biggest difference, of course, is religion. And if you see the Pakistani, really, they were always praying for a win. And they thought it helped them. I had many discussions with these players about that. And of course, there's nothing wrong with religion, but I don't think that someone outside yourself or out your team will help you to win a game. That you have to do it yourself. At least that's my belief. So we had lots of discussions about that. And so it was praying until the very last moment for a good result. And if they didn't win, okay. And also these boys all have the rituals the moment they come on the field. You can see that. Okay, but that's fine. If you feel good in it, that is okay. But you still have to understand that you have to act as a team and you have to act at your best as an individual to get results. The results are not coming from outside. You have to make sure that you do it yourself. You have to go all out to get a good result, and there's no one who will help you.